Greetings, Vault Hunters all across the 6 galaxies. Welcome to the Bordercast. We are live at our usual time, our new usual time, I should say, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. I'm Mitsu.
And I'm Tess, coming to you every week to break down all things Borderlands.
Oof, that new time, that's going to take me a few minutes to get adjusted to again, because you get
better.
I think it's so much better too, but just getting that out there at the beginning, you got to retool your brain.
Yes.
You got to retool your brain.
We have a spiel, and like when you say something many times, which sometimes we do, especially as streamers, it's definitely hard to like reprogram yourself to say it differently. Yes. But I love this new time. I hope you guys like it too. It is a little bit of a change. It's only just moving it down a little bit. I love this new time. It's yeah. I'm just.
I think it's going to be great for the show. I think it's going to be great for all the things that we want to do with the show. So I'm very excited to see where it takes us. But first, as always, we want to take a minute to thank all of our listeners on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and those watching live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and see more later on the VOD on YouTube. If you are enjoying the program, we would love for you to give us a big ol' like, follow, or favorite. So much like your stock portfolio, we can take this show to the moon. See? It's the contemporary relevant things that I like to say. Yeah, right? We keep the show fresh.
I'm just nodding my head and laughing a lot internally. Good things in the world.
Oh yeah,
very amusing things happening in the world these days. Just just a thought.
Yes, it has been a wild ride, but that is a conversation for other shows while we focus more on the Borderlands stuff, which, speaking of, Designer's Cut is out right now with Director's Cut on the way. Not that we have an idea of when it's coming out, but hopefully within the next couple months. I'd love to see it very soon, and I am excited to see what it might have in store for everybody. Fingers crossed. Borderlands 3 is available, of course, on PS5 and Xbox Series X, as many of you know. I am still not lucky enough to own an Xbox Series X, but I want to. And to that end, to prepare for it, I bought myself an Elite controller, the Elite Pro 2. I want all the Borderlands to happen. It's going to be great.
Nice.
Yeah. Bunkers and Badasses is coming. Tess, you know about that.
I just want it to be here so badly. I know lots of you guys want crossplay to be here so badly, and that is also coming, by the way. It's coming. It's coming. Okay? That's all I can tell you. But it will be here. It is heading your way. Like it's the horse that's already running. It's been running and now it's running as much as possible. Seriously, hashtag soon TM, but definitely, hopefully soon. It's on its way. It'll get here. It'll be amazing when it does. Like, no joke. It will be really awesome.
I'm very hesitant to say soon TM. Because soon TM was an old joke where it was actually never going to happen. This is soon. Like when will then be now soon?
Okay, that's fair. I think of soon TM as the way that I've tended to use it, which is I'm forever like 10 minutes late for things. So,
okay.
So it definitely means I'll be there. Like I will be there, no question. But it'll probably be like 10 minutes late. So that's just the way I think of it. So it's coming. It's coming soon. Not TM. It's just coming soon. Like, seriously, it is going to happen. So just Gearbox and 2K never say they're going to do a thing unless they're actually going to do a thing. So that is something that has been proven to me over the course of the last few years working with them that we've, been so fortunate to be able to do. And it's absolutely been proven time and time again. So they wouldn't have said it if it wasn't happening.
Exactly.
Soon.
And later on in the show, this is worth definitely highlighting because it's very exciting news. The Hunt is, in fact, returning. For those of you who don't know what The Hunt is, please, I implore you, stay tuned. You are going to want to know all things about The Hunt, and you're probably going to want to participate in it afterwards because it's an amazing event that benefits an incredible charity, and you're just going to have to wait a little bit later in the program to find out more about that. But yes, The Hunt is coming.
For those of you guys listening, I'm literally doing a happy dance on the stream right now because I'm so excited for this. I didn't get to participate in the OG one because I was just too discombobulated as a streamer to even know what was going on. But now, 2 years later, I'm so excited because it's going to be amazing. Everybody that put this incredible event together, K6, who's hanging out in the chat, Jolt's dude, and everybody helping them. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for doing it. Thank you so much for like coming up with this super cool event for all of us in the community. I'm excited to participate, and we're excited to talk about it more a little bit later. But just as a little teaser, Mitsu, are you gonna participate in the hunt?
So, fun fact about me, I have never once participated actively in the hunt. However, especially back in the first couple of years of its inception, what I would do is something called the run, where I would be the only streamer in the entire community who never actively participated in the event, but my streams were just dedicated to talking about the event. So it was always score updates, people telling me about cool drops they witnessed, all these fun things. So more likely than not, while I won't be actively participating as a competitor, I will be more than enthused to bring back coverage of the event. And that'll be a place for people to go on my end if they're looking for some place where they can get all of the updates instead of just watching somebody individually, which
Very
I
fair.
encourage you to do too.
Yeah, very fair, very fair, and you know, you're super super awesome at that. I'm probably gonna do absolutely horribly in the hunt. I'm definitely gonna talk about it a lot on my stream and here on the Borderlands channel and the Bordercast and all the shows. But I just want to participate because it gives me like, even if I'm terrible, it gives me a greater understanding of what the community goes through because I'm a part of it too, right? Plus, I'm a little bit competitive, not very, but a little bit. So I think it'll be fun. Ganza, huge thanks to Ganza, who is the original creator of it, as Killer Six just mentioned, and huge thanks to seriously everybody. There was a person on Twitter that created like an overlay and tweeted it out, and I believe that I retweeted it, but I don't remember their name, which is horrible. I will try to put that out on Twitter again, if in case I didn't already. My Twitter is @TessGames. But somebody created an overlay that everybody can use to help people like track what they're doing, and it's just kind of a cool unifying thing. I wonder if I can find it. I'll try and find it for when we actually talk about
Sure.
the hunt a little bit later. Anyway.
And if you're able to, you could always put it in the show description afterwards so people know exactly where they can go to make sure. There it is. Pilot Plays Games.
Oh,
it
thank
made
you.
the overlay and logos. Thank you again,
so
Killer
much,
Six. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Pilot Plays Games. Thank you very much. So don't follow me. I mean, follow me if you want to, but go follow Pilot Plays Games on Twitter. Check out their Twitter. I will definitely put a link to the tweet in the podcast description section, which if you are curious to follow us, if you prefer to just listen at any time at your convenience, we're on all the podcast platforms. I will make sure to have that link for you guys so you can download the overlay. He made it available for free to everybody, which is so nice of him. Pilot Plays Games. You can just go look up his Twitter, and it's cool. It's very Borderlandsy. I like it. I'm a very visual person. I love art stuff. And I love seeing creators come up with cool art stuff that especially helps bring communities together. And this is just such a cool thing for them to do. So thank you, Killer Six, for just putting the chat in, the Twitter into the chat. I can't speak English today. I'm sorry.
It's always important to make sure that the right people are being credited for the work that they do. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
It's very appreciated.
Yes. Switching gears a little bit. This past week in Borderlands, Tess, what were you up to?
I played a little VR. I actually played a little bit of Borderlands 3 also, but I've been trying to really, like, I'm working through this VR playthrough so slowly. My VR headset is actually really good, my setup, but it does get a little bit uncomfortable after about a couple of hours, especially if I'm playing something that's not like a fitness game. Fitness games just have a tendency, like, you get endorphins in me, and it's like with running, this happens all the time too, and people are like, how can you run for 3 hours? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, well, after about like 20 minutes, I don't really feel anything. Basically, the endorphins are so nice, and they just make any pain completely, like, you're just not aware of it, right? So when I play a fitness game on my VR setup, it's not a problem. I just, honestly, I don't notice it. But when I play anything that's like a normal game, that's just a really awesome immersive experience, like Borderlands 2 VR is, and this is no fault of the game at all. It's literally just the headset that's hurting me. After about a couple of hours, it just starts to kind of like give me a headache, basically.
Makes sense.
And I really notice it in that, like, I just start not being able to do all the cool things. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I've been trying to do like 2 hours as part of the stream. So I'll do like 2 hours in Borderlands 3 and then 2 hours in Borderlands 2 in VR. And that's been working really well, actually. And we were raising money also for the really, really awesome charity that is over now. But you can always help charities that you believe in, that Gearbox and 2K were so kind to support this particular one. If you do want to learn more, I'm going to put the command in chat one more time. I think the donate link is done, so you can't contribute through that donate link right now, but you can definitely look into the charity and support them at any time. So I'm just going to put that out there. I'll change the command so that it's like their permanent link.
Yes.
But yeah, anyway, it was a very good week in the Borderlands for me. What about you, Mitsu? What were you up to?
I was going to say real quick, the charity that we're, of course, talking about is 2K and Gearbox. We're supporting the New York Video Game Critics Circle charity, which is an organization benefiting low-income areas in New York City with colored scholarships and paid internships. And 2K Games will be matching all donations up to $10,000. And the goal, of course, was to reach $20,000 total. I believe the NYVGCC had their yearly event on the 26th, and it featured Reggie. Reggie Fils-Aimé was there to do all of the cool things that Reggie does. So it was just a really good time. It was a really nice little thing to see, and in general, it's a wonderful cause. Moving forward, yes, in this week in Borderlands, I have been sticking my face up against the takedowns. That's where I'm at right now. And I've finally gotten to a point where I think I understand how most efficiently to do Maliwan takedown. On true Maliwan takedown, no less. And some people have said to me, oh, well, why do you do it on true takedown? Normal takedown's a little bit easier, and you probably get comparable loop. I once again liken it to doing Master G in Borderlands 2. There was no reason to do Master G other than to do Master G. Sometimes humans are weird. Humans are very weird creatures, and sometimes why do we climb a mountain? We're not built to climb mountains by birth. We just do it because we want to climb a mountain. Why do we go to the moon? Because we want to go to the moon. So, like, I know you've got that skeptical face. Okay, yeah. I want to hear this. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think it's the feeling once you've done it, right? So, I think, well, there's a couple of different things. So, there's two different things, I would say. Sometimes the struggle and the suffering in the midst of trying to do the thing is actually, okay, so I'm going to sound insane right now, but sometimes it's enjoyable. At least some physical things for me, like running and things like that, have been very enjoyable just because your body chemistry reacts to it. But that's true also of things that are challenging while you're doing them that aren't necessarily so physical, right? So like doing a really hard takedown run in Borderlands. It's very intense. It pumps up that adrenaline really high. And it's like that feeling is enjoyable for a lot of people, I think. And also, when you've done it, that feeling is one of the most incredible feelings in the world. When you complete a takedown for the first time, when you beat that boss that you've never been able to beat, like the first time I ever beat, okay, so you guys are really going to make fun of me now, but when Borderlands 3 first came out, I struggled with Grave Ward because I use guns that are I love like SMGs and just guns that are very short range and are not all about crits. Those are my favorite kind of guns to shoot. They feel really good. And none of them were even remotely effective against Grave Ward. So the first time I actually beat Grave Ward legit, I was like, yes! It just felt so good because I finally did the thing. I figured out a setup that worked. I think I used the Cutsman, but anyway. So I totally get it. Like going against these crazy bosses, taking on these awesome challenges. Like I've basically become a challenge runner in Borderlands 3, where I do like one life things and not so much speed runs because I'm very bad at those. I'm slow and I get distracted by shiny trash piles because they're so pretty. And but just in general, I love challenges. Like I love one life runs. I love the takedowns, stuff like that. And so the feeling when you complete a challenge, that's why I'm so looking forward to the hunt, even though I may not be amongst like the top tier people. I'm guarantee you I will not be. Even if I try really, really, really hard, which I'm going to try very, very hard, but it'll just be fun to participate and have that challenge. And however successful I am, I know I'll feel very fulfilled at the end of it, having like been through the gauntlet, so to speak. And it just feels good when you climb a mountain and you get to the top and you see the view. Man, that's incredible.
And that's the point. The point is I like the challenge of doing it because I don't have any builds that just one shot quite literally everything. It multiple shot, basically one shot kills things, but it's the plasma coil, so that's what it's going to do. But at no point do I feel like I'm running through this and there isn't at least some semblance or aura of danger where I could die if I'm not playing at my best. And so that's why I really like Molly 1 Takedown, and I like going through it over and over again on True Takedown, Molly 1 Takedown. Because to me, I'm going through all of this and I'm going to beat it, or I might not. Sometimes I wipe at Valkyrie, sometimes I wipe at Kraken. Sometimes I go all the way and it doesn't even feel like it was True Takedown. It feels like it was normal takedown. It runs the gamut, and so that's a lot of fun to me. Plus, I get to kill Wotan, and that's just probably one of the best boss fights in Borderlands history. It's such a good fight.
Oh my god,
from
yeah.
every level. Now that it's more accessible, just a little more accessible, because originally I remember we were trying to beat it on release, and it was a nightmare scenario.
Yeah,
Wotan it was too hard for almost everybody.
Yeah, it was too hard for me, honestly. I super struggled with Molly 1 Takedown when it first launched. It was just like my builds did not measure. I think it was honestly for me, my builds were not like they weren't min-maxy enough. Like they were fun for me to play, and this was before Ultimate Vault Hunter really became a thing and I started learning more, and I'm still not that amazing of a builder. I've learned so much from the awesome people that do Ultimate Vault Hunters, though. By the way, we have a super cool episode coming up for you guys with TBJ Quag later today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, so in about an hour and a half after this. Anyway, yeah, so Molly 1 Takedown, my characters that I used for that were all just kind of like, okay, I'm going to do damage and I'm going to chill and I'm going to survive. They were like kind of like slow as smooth as fast kind of characters. The problem was me. Like they were good enough to get through it, except if I stopped paying attention for like a second, I would die and then I'd have to start back over. And my focus took a hit every single time, and I just couldn't maintain that level of focus. And that's something I still struggle with, honestly, which is why speedruns are hard, because I just look shiny. But yeah, it was such a challenge. And the first time I actually got through, like speaking of mountains to climb, the first time I actually got through Molly 1 Takedown on my own and finished it was the most incredible, satisfying feeling. It was so good. So
when it comes to Borderlands, sometimes though there has to be a time constraint. And so at the end of my most recent stream 2 days ago on Tuesday rather, on the official Borderlands channel, I wanted to do a Guardian takedown. I didn't do a true Guardian takedown because I wasn't confident enough yet, but I want to do a Guardian takedown just to see if I still got it in Mayhem 11, how my build is going to hold up. And even at a relatively fast rate of speed of me killing enemies, it took me at least twice as long to beat Guardian Takedown than it did to beat Molly 1 Takedown. And so to me, I think one of the things that turns people off, having played it now, I realize it's just the pacing of Guardian Takedown is perhaps a bit off in comparison to Molly 1 Takedown. And that's why I think Molly 1 Takedown, now that we've had 6 months, 8 months, almost a year with Molly 1 Takedown, we're kind of starting to actually more than a year. That was December, right? Yeah, that was December, because that was on the original roadmap. Wow. I just blew my own mind.
It's been a while. I can't say I won. Okay, I hate to disagree with my co-host, but that makes for an interesting show.
No, that's the point. Please go ahead.
I don't feel like the pacing is bad on Guardian Takedown. I actually really like the pacing on Guardian Takedown.
Really?
It feels better to me because not to say that the pacing is bad on Molly 1. It's also good on Molly 1. But for me personally, I really liked how Guardian Takedown felt like it had much more variation in locations, kind of. So like you went from like one spot to another spot to another spot to another spot to like the crystal series at first, or the crystal area at first, and then that little bridge, and then and yes, there definitely more places for you to fall and die and screw up. But maybe it's because I've played too many jumpy first person games. I'm really bad at that, but maybe because I've played others, it wasn't as daunting. But I definitely feel like there's just more little segments of different locations visually in Guardian Takedown versus Molly One Takedown. Molly One Takedown has those two big sections that are like such a slog, like the bridge and before you get to the Valkyries, that whole like starting area. I used to really struggle with that because it just required so much focus for so long, and then you know, like if you failed the Valkyries, you get put back at the beginning, and it was just, I feel like the pacing, I mean, I would love more checkpoints all the way through both of them. Just saying, but that's a personal thing. I feel like the pacing in Guardian Takedown, the variety of locations made it feel better to me, even though it was actually the same amount of checkpoints and the same amount of combat, kind of. But I don't know. I mean, everybody's different. They're both good for different reasons, I think, and they both kind of play for. They both play better or are better gameplay experiences for different kinds of people that enjoy Borderlands 3. You know, like some gamers like the puzzly kind of jumpy aspect. Some people like to stay in one place and just like melt enemies in front of them for a while because that feels really good. There's definitely positives to both, in my opinion.
Sure. It just the way that I was feeling going through everything. It's funny that you use the term slog because I see like I love Molly One Takedown because I never felt like anything was a slog, but in Guardian Takedown, not the crystal moments, it's fighting the Necrotafeo bestial enemies. I think you could have cut those sections out and just focused on the Guardian aspect of the Guardian Takedown, and probably it would feel a lot cleaner to me because it feels like you're going in, you fight a Necrotafeo enemy, you do a Guardian crystal event, and then boss. Same thing on the back end. It's you have to do a bunch of alien enemies again. You do Guardian crystal section, then you do a boss. But with Molly One Takedown, you don't even have to do the ratch. It's you fight the mini boss, then you fight the mini boss, then you fight your way up to the bridge, then you cross a bridge, boss. And I've also found that one of the best things to do about the bridge, and this is wild to me, if you run all the way to the other end of the bridge as soon as you get to the bridge, and I mean like go up the ramp and just bolt all the way out. If you do that, enemies have to come to you, and you have enough cover where even those death spheres, and that is so hard to say, when they're running around and using their lasers, they can't move enough. You will be able to blow them up. So it made my runs a lot easier, and I think that if other people take that advice, it might make their runs easier as well. That's all.
That's really, really helpful advice. Also, I think we're getting an unofficial triple raid because there's a million triple emotes in the channel. Just in case you guys don't know.
I would think so, yes.
Yeah, there's a really awesome streamer that streams on the Borderlands channel every Friday and Sunday in the mornings, Eastern Standard Time, called triple_G. You can type ! Triple in the Twitch channel to get his link to his Twitch and YouTube. Also, all of the links for all of our awesome creators on the team are available below the video in the panels in the About section. And you can also check them all out just in the directory on Twitch. They're amazing. I super recommend. Thank you for the raid.
That was super cool. I saw all the hearts coming in as I was in the middle of talking about that, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta wrap this up. We gotta call out Triple G real quick and thank him for
is really good advice, though,
love.
Mitsu. That's a fair point.
Yeah, the bridge does. Trying to fight your way across leaves you too open, but if you can control the context of how those death spheres run around and how the dogs don't have a lot of room to maneuver, it makes your life a lot easier. Yeah. Also, get a plasma coil. That's all I'm gonna say, because it wrecks dogs. It wrecks everything.
Unless you're doing a TDR Allegiance run and then you get a Dark Army, because oh my god, it's so nice. Just saying. Just
an aside real quick, because you brought up TDR. I did arms race
with
the new TDR changes, and I some people are saying it's a drastic nerf. I don't feel that way, and I'll tell you why. TDR bullet damage is high enough that if I nail the vast majority, if not all of the shots on the enemy and then nail the chuck throw, I'm doing about the same damage. So, and I'm not a math guy, so I'm just going by what I feel. I feel that it's rewarding me for being a better shot as opposed to just shooting once and chucking a grenade. So I don't know how that actually lines up, but I'm still wrecking people in arms race. Outside of arms race, I don't know. That I'm not going to comment on.
So Killer6 in the chat is saying that it's a 50% damage nerf, sad face, which I also am definitely not a math person, and I haven't done it in arms race. And Killer6 is also saying that TDR is still great in arms race. So my experience has been, so I've been doing a TDR Allegiance run for the last few weeks, kind of slowly progressing because I'm slow. And it's been really, really fun to do. And I feel like the change affected me not at all, but I have not done arms race since the change. So I just continued my TDR Allegiance run for the first couple hours of the stream just like a couple days ago, and it was awesome. And honestly, I think because of my play style, because some people when they pick up a TDR gun, their thinking is immediately, okay, shoot a few bullets and then throw the gun, and then shoot a few bullets and then throw the gun, and that's just their gameplay loop. And other people are like, no, I'm just going to shoot the gun and let it automatically reload and just keep aiming for an enemy, and no matter what, like honestly, I just continue aiming for the enemy and it reloads, and so it automatically chucks the grenade gun at the enemy. So for me, it really I haven't noticed that difference. I wonder how it feels in arms race, and I'm definitely going to try that out on Sunday. So we'll see. We'll see how I feel, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
So we'll leave it there and keep it rolling here because there is a new event. Speaking of arms race,
yes.
Segues. We're good at them here sometimes, occasionally. Which we're actually going to talk about right now in a little segment that we always like to call Hot Fixes Applied. So there is a wonderful new mini event called the Extra Extraction. And it is happening. During this event, all airdrops will have a greatly increased chance to drop doll chests, which in turn are more likely to contain arms race exclusive gear, such as the plasma coil. In order to facilitate players keeping said gear, all extraction terminals will have additional slots for you to send your gear back to your bank. It's a very simple change, but much like last week's event, it's going to facilitate more ways for you to go into arms race. And even if you don't beat arms race, if you hang around long enough and do a couple airdrops, you still have a better chance of getting the loot, getting to an extractor and getting it out.
Okay.
One of the
Yeah, I like this change.
Yes.
I did read it beforehand, but I really, now that you said it after we talked about arms race for a little bit, I'm like, okay, so the experience for this will actually be significantly improved. This is nice. If you can extract more items, that also, as a streamer, that gives more choices for your viewers to grab one of those items in the red chest lottery, which is nice.
That's correct.
And it makes you worry less about the boss fight, which is also nice, because like sometimes you run through that and you find really good items that you can extract, but you don't find enough things to actually get you through that boss fight effectively. And so it's really stressful because you're like, I don't know if I can get this stuff out of here. And maybe the extraction sites have all been closed off by the storm by now, and you just have too many good things. It happens. It happens a lot. And so this is a really, really nice little event.
Yeah.
I really appreciate them doing that.
I think it makes airdrops in general a lot more of a enjoyable option.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will sacrifice an airdrop whether they don't think that they're going to get it in time, or perhaps they're just not concerned about it because they feel airdrops don't drop enough relevant or interesting loot. So this is a great way for airdrops to kind of make a comeback a little bit. And like you said, I didn't even consider that angle. Streamers can take advantage of this to be able to extract additional loot for their viewers.
Yeah.
So for those of you who watch all those wonderful streamers that we have in the Borderlands community, they are going to definitely get a little bonus this week if they want to take advantage of it. So
I mean, I think it's just their chances of getting something good are slightly higher, right? Because you're extracting more good things. So it's not like they're going to get more things. It's just that their chances of getting something really nice are better.
Yes.
Also, I definitely personally prioritize the loot rooms versus the airdrops because you just don't know if the airdrops are going to have good things. Those are, I mean, I guess the loot rooms are a chance too. I don't actually know if the chance of getting something really good is higher from a loot room than from an airdrop. I just know that Schultz and Killer Six posted this amazing map that I don't even know where the map came from, but it's amazing. That just tells you where to go for specific things. Like when I want the Dark Army, I know exactly where to go for that. Arms race map, just Google that and you will find it. There's a billion pictures of it. It's really easy to just go exactly for what you need, and you're likely to get it from that as opposed to an airdrop, which could be literally anything. Sometimes the things in airdrops are really good, really good. Yeah, Killer Six and Joel's did a ton of runs for research on that, which is super, super helpful. Thank you. Thank you for putting that out for the community. It's so helpful. Like I started my TDR Allegiance run with Arms Race because, and this is something DePriesticles taught me, who is a wonderful streamer on the team. Also, DePriesticles is a challenge runner. He's actually the person that inspired me to do challenge runs a lot in general, and kind of helped me realize that that's kind of what I actually really like doing. He also was like, I'm not really a speedrunner, but I like challenge things, and I just kind of want to have like a good time doing difficult things. And anyway, he was like, every time I do a one life now with Arms Race, I go into Arms Race first because even though I might die, I'm dying at the beginning of a one life, so it's kind of like, well, okay, no big deal if I die. But if I win and if I get a really good gun, that gun's going to carry me through that one life. So when I started my TDR Allegiance run, I was like, Dark Army. And it's doing its job. That's all I'm going to say.
It's a very strong gun. All those guns are designed to be very strong.
Yeah.
And again, that's something that Graham was talking about with months and months back, that his vision for the weapons and the gear that you get in Arms Races is supposed to be among, if not some of the best in-slot weapons that you can possibly get right now. And he was not wrong. All of it lives up to the hype. Do you need to use it? No. But if you get it, you will not be disappointed in what you have received every single time. Speaking of community-led initiatives.
Good segue.
Thank you. Borderlands 3 has had a bit of a tough stigma attached to it, in which the game itself is seen as overwhelmingly nerf-friendly. But is that actually true? Community member Seraphaz broke down the numbers, and they may come as a surprise to fellow players currently listening out there. The TLDR version of what we're about to talk about is there have been, and this is a real number, there have been 282 buffs since Borderlands 3 was released, as opposed to 30 nerfs. And what I will say is this: while the sheer quantity of buff to nerf leaves no room for debate, the quality of these changes still is. But I would say at this particular juncture, it does not seem accurate for people to claim that Gearbox only nerfs things, because it is overwhelmingly in favor of buffs. Mm-hmm. You read about.
Thank you so much. I'm
good.
so sorry. I'm trying to prevent you guys hearing my wonderful keyboard that I have moved with my microphone. So I apologize. Sometimes I get it wrong. Anyway, I don't remember where I started talking. So I feel like Mitsu and I maybe have a little bit more of an insight, but we're generally just gamers that play the game like you guys do, and we read every hotfix.
Mhm.
No professional streamer ever does that, Killer Six. You've definitely never done that. No way. I don't believe it. Killer Six hanging out in the chat. You guys should go follow him because he's awesome. Anyway, I pro streamer strats muted myself briefly, so I apologize for that tiny silent moment in the podcast. We're back. Pro streamer strats. Yeah, so anyway, we get a little tiny bit of an insight, I think, just by reading every single hotfix and going into detail and like talking about it and then figuring out the best way to present it to you guys and like what to talk about and how to showcase it and all that. We get a little bit more of an insight, but the truth is, overwhelmingly, like what tends to happen on an everyday basis for us when we're working on this show, just as kind of like a break the fourth wall window for you guys, is a hotfix will come out. We'll cover it, like we'll talk about what the hotfix is, and then usually right after that or right before that, either way, we get to play the hotfix, right? And so we get to experience it. And when we cover it, we're either talking about what we think will happen or what has already happened when we've been able to play it. And it just depends on when the show airs. And realistically, we're trying to look for like what the effect is of this hotfix.
Yes.
And 99% of the time, it makes things better. From somebody that doesn't really understand the math and only kind of really gets kind of a grasp of what the numbers are from people that come on Ultimate Vault Hunters and people that post about it in like the Borderlands Discord, which is awesome, by the way. You should definitely check it out. There's a command in the chat, the Twitch chat for it. It's just literally discord.gg/Borderlands. They're awesome, but people in there will talk about what they feel also, and I read that a lot, even though I don't really talk a lot. I'm lurking in there. I'm sorry. I lurk and I read your comments. I'm a spy. No, not really. It's what I do. Anyway, I feel like overwhelmingly the balance has improved just as a player and as a reader of content based on Borderlands. It seems like the overwhelming feeling is the balance has improved over the years of Borderlands 3's existence. I don't think any dev ever wants to take away our fun, right? I feel like all they want to do is make sure we're having more fun. And the Gearbox devs and 2K and Gearbox and everybody that works on Borderlands has always been all about making sure we're all having more fun as players. They've said this on so many occasions, whether it's been on camera or on Twitter or on just personal conversations. Like they just want to make sure we're all having a good time. So nobody feels good nerfing stuff, especially people are having fun with it. They just want to make sure that there's a decent balance so that everybody has a variety of builds to play that accommodates a variety of play styles, that accommodates a variety of people. And I think they've achieved that to a very large degree. So when people say that they nerf more than they buff, that just sounds crazy to me. And I'm not saying that because I'm a host on this show. I'm just saying that as a player and somebody that reads the hotfixes all the time and plays the game, looking for the effect of those hotfixes on a regular basis.
And so a few comments that I've seen in the chat, and I'm going to address these one at a time. I assume Was It Fact Checked is referring to this list. This list is the fact check. This list is literally somebody and did, Seraphaz did an entire list of the date that a certain patch or hotfix would come out, how many buffs were in it, how many nerfs were in it, and then every single listed change broken down to this is a shotgun. For example, here on my birthday, 9/19/2019, 0 buffs, 2 nerfs, shotgun sticky nerf, and E-Tech shotgun damage nerf. That's 2 nerfs, right? And so it's broken down that way. Some of the most prolific nerfs and buffs happen, for example, on a hotfix on October 17th of 2019. 21 buffs, 12 nerfs. And you can just peruse this entire list and see it. Now, the second question that certain people were asking in the chat, or the certain point that certain people were making in the chat, is what about the nerf that killed the recursion? It also killed a lot of weapons. Did that count as one? Or did they consider the projectile nerf one nerf, or did it account for each gun it actually affected? And that is why when I opened up this conversation, because I knew that this was a very valid concern for people to have, that what we are talking about right now is the sheer quantity of changes. Okay? It is wrong to say that Gearbox only nerfs based on the sheer quantity. You can have a discussion about the quality of these changes and whether or not one change might affect several things. But if you take it on just one change counting for one thing, even if that affects multiple things, it's overwhelmingly still in favor of buff to nerf. So we can debate whether or not those changes were worth it. But again, it's disingenuous to say they just nerf, because they buff a far greater deal than they nerf. So I think we just have to figure out a way to shape the debate where we're having a debate based on intellectual honesty and not hyperbole. That's what I'm asking for when I bring this up. That's all I got for that one.
So Killer 6 just said, even if Seraphaz is off by like 10%, it's
Sure.
still overwhelmingly buffs. I mean, even if he's off by more than 10%, it's still overwhelmingly buffs. They're just trying to balance it in a way that no one feels left behind, and that like no build seems like okay, when you played Borderlands 2, at least when I played Borderlands 2, I felt like you had to have a double penetrating unkept herald. Even after 7 years, I played the game all the way through a couple of times right before Borderlands 3 was announced, actually. And when it was announced, I played through it again on stream. And honestly, I felt like I had to have a double penetrating unkempt herald, And like, what if you don't like how that gun shoots? Or what if your build just is more about doing other things? Like, yes, there are several options, but the more options players have, the better. I have been, especially as a person with an accessibility issue and just in general a player of many video games, my biggest thing is give people more choice in their entertainment, right? Like, video games are entertainment for us, right? They're like going to the movies, except you get so many millions of hours of entertainment instead of just like 2 or 3, right? And it's incredible how people don't realize that, like, so many of us that watch this show, that play this game, have been playing and watching it for like years of our lives, because we just spend so much time in game. We get so much enjoyment out of it. And the idea, I think, of buffs and nerfs in general, especially with a game that's mostly is exclusively PvE, really, is to make sure that everybody that plays, or as many people as they possibly can make that play the game, are happy and are able to accommodate their play style. Everybody has a different way they like to play. They have different guns they like to shoot. One thing that's super cool about Borderlands 3 in general, and the Borderlands series in general, is that every gun feels different. Like, there are a billion guns in Borderlands 3, and so many of them feel unique and different to each other. They sound different. They feel different. The oomph of the gun, like the speed of the projectiles, the visuals of the projectiles, the sound effect, everything feels different. And so you might have a favorite gun. Hello, Cutsman.
I'm even told that it's so specific now that in PS5, each weapon itself has an individual feel in how it feels to its haptic feedback.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
that's how in depth is. And I might be wrong. Again, I haven't physically used one yet, but that's what I've been hearing from people who do have PS5s and are playing Borderlands on it right now. That it's so in depth that, like, the Freeman is going to feel drastically different from using the Lob. It might be similar, but that's how it will not be exactly a one-to-one comparison. That's how in-depth this is. So it's crazy.
Yeah, at least hundreds of different feeling guns, and all of the things that contribute to the way a gun feels. Which I'm totally a gunplay snob. So the sound, the visual, the oomph of, like, the speed of the projectiles, everything. There's so much that goes into that, and there are literally hundreds of different things, and there's so many different builds. Ultimate Vault Hunter is a great showcase of that. That there are so many different viable, like, gameplay loops in Borderlands, and that's amazing, and I think actually really rare. having a lot of different gameplay loops, a lot of different like things that you can do as you run around and kill stuff in a video game. A lot of different ways to do that, to run around and kill stuff in a video game is an incredible like thing in a game. I mean, there's only so many ways to do that, but there's like hundreds of ways to do that in Borderlands. And to make all of them not just viable, but top tier, I think is incredibly hard. And that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to make it so that in Borderlands 3, you're not like, I have to have a DP Herald, you know, like I have to, or I'm not going to, like, it's going to take me like a bazillion years to beat, you know, like the end game stuff. So it's just, you don't need that. Like, even though it might take you a little bit more time than some other, you know, build to finish content, you're going to finish it in a reasonable amount of time with so many different builds. And I think that's an incredible achievement, honestly, to have such a good level of balance. So I don't feel like it's nerfs. I think they've just been balancing things.
Yeah.
And this spreadsheet just goes to prove that. So
yeah. And again, it's a subject for debate. What we're expressing here is just opinions. We've backed it up a little bit with some actual facts, but even then, these numbers can be interpreted words in different ways depending on how you look at them. Again, a nerf to projectile counts was a big nerf to other guns, but some of those guns might have wound up getting buffed in future and subsequent buffs that might have offset the loss of that one projectile. So everything just needs to be taken in context, and everything just needs to be debated with open honesty and good faith in order to have those conversations. That's the most important thing.
Agreed.
Switching gears, Kevin Hart, they did it. Oh boy, I you know, we talked about the rumors very briefly, as we talked about the rumors with Cate Blanchett when she was rumored to be Lilith, and same thing with Eli Roth, even way back then. But Kevin Hart, yes, that Kevin Hart, best friends with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, will be joining the official Borderlands movie as Roland.
This is so exciting.
Oh boy, do you want to take the lead on this one? Because I have thoughts. And I'm going to try and make them quick because we still have to get to the hunt, but I have thoughts.
Yes, we have so much detail on the hunt to give you guys, and we want to make sure there's time for that. I'm actually going to let I want to hear from you first. I want to hear your thoughts first.
I'm going to try and get this out as fast as possible because we all know I can be very wordy at times. Listen, I'm always excited to see a character, or an actor, I should say. I'm excited to see an actor come on to a project and try and do something outside of what their established comfort zone is. If you've seen Uncut Gems, and I was talking about this the other day, starring Adam Sandler, for example, that movie was really good, and it showed, better than I think any of his other movies, that he had range beyond being funny man Adam Sandler. He got snubbed for an Oscar for it, which I believe that's a shame, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, he tried. Heath, and this is my favorite one, Heath Ledger, the Joker, almost universally critically acclaimed. I know there are some people out there who's like, they don't like him still. I understand that. I personally loved him. But when you first heard about it, you were like, wait, Heath Ledger? The guy from A Knight's Tale? That guy? Was it A Knight's Tale? I think it was A Knight's Tale. There were a lot of medieval movies, like medieval.
Yeah, it was A Knight's Tale. I love that movie, by the way.
Yeah, right. And there's like a lot of medieval comedies that happen about that. But Heath Ledger, that guy is our Joker. And then the movie came out, and of course, unfortunately, there was a tragedy that kind of sucked. But like, his performance in it was stellar, iconic. So yes, it's difficult for me in my head to rectify Roland, who I think of typically because of what we know in Borderlands, where he's like 6'3", 6'4", he's jacked out the gills, but he's very calm, he's very stoic, he's very logical and calculating. He is a soldier, he is a leader, and he's the straight man in a universe full of wacky. And you need somebody like that to balance it out. You have to have somebody who is playing it completely straight in order to make the rest of the universe around him work. That's how good movies work. You have to have a protagonist that you can relate to on a personal level. Luke Skywalker, great example. Marty McFly, wonderful example. Everything around him is wacky and fantastical, but he himself is grounded in a reality that we can still relate to. Kindergarten Cop became a governor. Can you believe it? So that's how I see Roland, and it's difficult for me to see Kevin Hart, who is, typically a comedy guy. He's like 5'2". I don't usually think of him as this jacked up guy who's going to go around and like punch heads in. But again, this is Borderlands. Anything is possible. So I'm at this point where it's hard for me to rectify it personally, but I'm at least going to try and give it a chance to see how it goes. And if it goes poorly, fine. But it could wind up working out really well, and it could show a side of Kevin Hart that none of us have been exposed to before. And I think that's part of why he actually took on the challenge in the first place.
I super agree with you on like 99% of that. And so trying to figure out, I have so many thoughts and I'm trying to figure out how to put them out concisely.
I know. And that's why I was like, I got to just get this out real quick because I know we have other things we got to do.
Glad you did. I would love, so a couple of important things. I would love to at some point get Liz on the Bordercast again so we can talk about acting stuff and the movie with an actual actress.
Yes. Next time there's movie, we should do that. Any movie information or news, we should absolutely do that.
Because Liz, aka 55, is actually an incredible actress, and she is moving back to LA to pursue acting further in her career. She's already done a bunch of really cool stuff, and she's going to do more cool stuff. And someday you'll see her like winning an Oscar, and you'll be like, I know her from Borderlands stuff. She hosts Ultimate Vault Hunter, which will be airing in about an hour or so. Just saying. Anyway, stay tuned for that. She's amazing. But also, I watch too much freaking television. My boyfriend and I, and just me throughout my life, I've always been like into movies and TV shows and all that stuff. And I feel like some of the comedic kind of actors, first of all, everybody gets typecast, like super typecast, unbelievably typecast, especially
unless your name is Leonardo DiCaprio.
There are breakout stars, right? But even people like that could have been typecast unless they fought for sort of opportunities to escape that kind of thing, right? Yeah. It's much easier, I think, for movie makers and film like TV makers, show makers, to just call an agent and be like, hey, I need like a Russian mafia guy, and there's like 2 guys that they call, okay.
Mads Mikkelsen, who else? See, I had an answer for that one too.
Yeah, I mean, like you literally know the people they call for certain roles, right? It's really, really easy for them to do that. It's easier, I think, for an actor to play the same role because you kind of like the people that play medical professionals on TV shows. They learn the jargon, and they, even if they've never had any medical experience, they like understand it, and then they can just spew it out again and again and again. And it's easier for them. So like there's no learning curve, and people that make the shows and make the movies are like, oh, or there's less learning curve. So they're like, okay, I'm going to go to that guy because he's already done it before. So I know he can do it, and I know he can do this job of it. So I'm just going to do that guy instead of taking a risk on somebody that's unknown, right? I feel like that is a very understandable but bad mentality, because people are capable of so much more. Human beings in general are. Actors are incredible humans that can portray emotions that they're not actually necessarily feeling, or they can make themselves feel things that are totally arbitrary and abstract to them, but they can get into the head of a character and feel those things and portray those things and make us feel those things. And it's an incredible skill that I just super admire. And comedians are people that do this to a level of sort of excellence that I can't even, I mean, it's really hard to have good comedic timing. I think it's much harder to have good comedic timing and a good understanding of that and actually make people laugh and feel at ease than it is to make people feel drama and feel sadness. I think a lot of drama and sadness actually comes from everything else. Like, yes, actors obviously portray those emotions, but there's so much more that goes into it. The music, the scenery, the lighting, the coloring of a scene, there's like some million things that can make you feel negative emotions and they're known, right? And comedy is like that too, but to a much higher degree, I think comedians have to be thinking on their feet and feeling their audience and understanding the world around them and what's actually funny at any given time. Like the things that are funny in 2021 or 2020 are not the same things that were funny even like a year ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago. And so hiring a comedian or comedic actor to do something that's more serious is a really smart choice, in my opinion, first of all, because they will understand both the comedic nature of Borderlands, which has always sought to bring a like a lightness and a hopefulness to a really depressing and sad reality. Because if you think about Borderlands from the first game, it's pretty freaking dystopian and is pretty
It's
dark.
extremely dystopian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like the situation in the world of the Borderlands is actually really dark and really sad. And yet the game is full of funny things and humor. And I think choosing a comedian to play a serious role, a role that is beloved by so much of the community, and people, yes, expect him to be serious, but also the overall universe is not like that. And to bring on someone that has comedic experience, that will understand that and have the potential to play it in a serious way, but maybe have some hopefulness and some humor like the game does, I think is incredibly smart. So that was a very wordy way of saying I think he's going to do a really great job, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yes. I will leave you with a few points as we move on into our next segment here. One, Kevin Hart being in this movie, and I know we're talking about all this typecasting and things that, he probably doesn't want to be associated with, but the fact that Kevin Hart is associated now, does this mean that there is a possibility that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could be our Brick?
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
I like the two of them star in so many movies together, and they already have excellent on-screen chemistry. If imagine, okay, here, and this just popped in my head, what if it was a complete role reversal? Because more often than not, Dwayne Johnson is the straight man, and Kevin Hart is the funny guy, right? Now imagine if they had to reverse their roles and Brick was played very comedically by The Rock, as he should be because it's Brick, and Kevin Hart was the one who played very straight. I know, obviously, like Noel just said, it's not Jumanji 4. Like, I understand, obviously, and there are, but what I'm saying, like, they do tend to work together more on not just Jumanji, but like, it would be really, really funny because we're talking about them breaking out of roles. What if they broke out of this role together and then showed this new side of them? Although The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, he's already proven that he's a funny guy in his own, so it doesn't really need to be done. But it could be. It could be.
I'm just excited. I think it'll be so cool. I really do. I think the choices they've made so far, like Kate Blanchett is an incredible, talented, beautiful actress, and her playing Lilith, yes. And she's just amazing, and it's gonna be so good. And like everybody working on it so far has been so good. And the whole idea of Borderlands, I mean, hi, we're all here because we love it so much, right? It is dystopian. It is dark if you look at the overarching kind of situation of the world that people live in the Borderlands. However, there's a very strong hopefulness there always, and there's a very strong like level of humor, fart jokes and all. And I think that anybody that works on the movie for this video game has to kind of vibe with that. And I definitely think that this person will. I think Kevin will. I think Kate Blanchett will. I think everybody that's working on it will. I'm just excited to see it. We should super move on to The Hunt because I like television too much and movies too much, so I tend to talk about it too much. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You had an amazing idea. When this comes back up, we should ask Liz to come back on because the insights that she would bring to the table based on her experiences of her time when she was out there last time while she was out in LA. Oh boy, she'll have some stuff to share about how the industry works and why this is a good thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm excited to see
moving
where
on.
she goes next with all that. So anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Moving on to the main attraction of today's show. The Hunt is back, as announced on Twitter last week by Jolts2139 and Killer6, who will be running the event. And for those of you who might not know yet, what is the Hunt, you might be asking yourself? Well, the Hunt started many years ago from a community member, Paul Braganza, PB Gonza, who has since gone on to work for partnerships at Twitch. The torch was then passed on to King Gothalion, who worked to host and produce the event for a few years, which began benefiting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which it's a personal favorite charity of mine, and I think a lot of people here, just
Me
because
too.
of the amazing work they do with trying to end all forms of pediatric cancer and curing those who have it all over the world. It is not just a United States effort anymore. They went global as of, I want to say, 2 years ago. It's a big effing deal.
Even before they went global, I just want to point this out. So from the very beginning, their goal was to completely eliminate childhood cancers everywhere. And so all of the research that they did, all of the funding that they received, they basically open sourced it. They completely made it available. They helped other countries. They worked with hospitals in other countries to try to give them everything that they were working on, to try to share the knowledge that they were able to gain from all of the benefits they were able to receive in this country, to make sure that childhood cancer is eliminated everywhere. And they've been able to expand across the world in large part thanks to the efforts of so many people that have tried to make sure they have the funding that they need to make sure no child dies from cancer. That's what their goal is, and that's what they're trying to work on as much as they can. And it's amazing.
Yes. So unfortunately, there was no Hunt last year. So as a result of that, Jolts2139, of course, Killer6, decided to take up the mantle and make it happen this year. It is a community-led initiative in which players of Borderlands 3 are provided a list of all the rare items in the game, more or less, and a point value for each based on the rarity and difficulty of obtaining each item. For example, back in the old days in Borderlands 2, pearlescent weapons and the Cobra, a fabled unique weapon that could only drop off of very specific enemies in the beatdown, were allotted a maximum point value, whereas the Unkempt Herald was worth less, despite being a legendary, but was fairly easy to farm and quite accessible to most people. You only need to obtain each item once, but you must make sure that you have proof of doing so via recording or a live stream, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we do a brief primer on the rules a little bit later. This event is running for 5 days starting on March 1st and going all the way to March 5th, so that will happen just about 4 weeks from now, maybe a little bit over that. So sit tight, the Hunt is coming, and yes, it is real. And if you are wondering, yes, there will be prizes. If you're interested in learning more, I encourage and implore all of you to check out JoltsDude139 at JoltsDude139, twitch.tv/JoltsDude139, and of course, Killer6, who is in the chat with us on Twitch today, right now, and check out their social media channels and Twitch channels to figure out and find out all the ways in which you, right there at home, can get involved with the Hunt. So, with all of that primer out there, there are many rules to the Hunt, and we don't quite have the time to go through all of them, but hopefully we will have Jolt Student K6 on the show at some point, either or both. We'd love to have both on the show to talk more in depth about the rules, why these are the rules that were chosen, and just a brief primer, on everything else that we discussed when it comes to the Hunt. Some of the most important ones that people should know, and they are a bit of a change from previous years. This one I love. The first rule stated, if you are competing, you may only put in 12 hours a day for the Hunt 2021, and this is so you have time to focus on your health. We do not want anyone passing out from exhaustion on their stream. I love this rule. It sucks a little bit for the grinders. Yeah, no, it's a great idea, right?
Super important. Just as a caveat for those of you guys listening to the podcast, I will put these links into the podcast description section for all of you guys. You will have the full paste bin and the full Google Doc of all of the items. Everything will be there for you, so you can just click on it and figure out exactly what you need to do. We will go through all of these in detail in the future. We'll also hopefully have Killer6 and Joltzude and or whichever one of them might have time to join us to talk about it in greater detail.
Yes.
We definitely, there's so much to it, but it's also doable, I think, for a ton of people. Like, you don't have to be a speedrunner. You don't have to be a super 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 grinder with super 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 crazy amounts of time to participate. That's part of why these limitations are in place, right? So no guardian rank. So even if you have not necessarily in your life, especially in 2020 with all the things going on, had as much time to play Borderlands 3, you can disable guardian rank because everybody's going to be disabling guardian rank, and you can compete, right? Maximum of 12 hours per day is super important, super super good for everybody's health to just maintain that. And the rules are very much set up so that you can participate if you love this game. That's the point, right? The point is to include as many people of the community as you possibly can, and it's really awesome.
Yes. If you are competing, you must stream your progression, like we talked about before. To have proof of a drop, you must look at the item so it can be seen, and an item card pops out, and clip it. If an item drops out of bounds and you cannot see the item card, it will have to be refarmed. That's brutal but fair because of another rule that we will talk about very shortly. These drops will consist of the base game and all DLCs except for DLC 2, Guns, Love, and Tentacles. That is because DLC 2 was banned in certain countries due to content. It's out of everybody's control, unfortunately.
Yeah, super unfortunate. Super unfortunate. Really unfair. And in an effort to try to make it the hunt fair for the overall community, they have made this rule, which I super appreciate and I think makes sense. It super sucks that it's banned in certain countries, and that's not okay, but that's why it's excluded from the hunt.
Right. So all items from DLC 2 will not appear on the list in any form, nor will any items from DLC 2 be allowed to be used on your character. So you can't go into DLC 2 and grab an Anarchy if you think it would help your build to help you farm anything that would otherwise be legally able to do so. Very important distinction. Keep it in mind. The lost lot machine, words. Where am I today? The Lost Loot Machine cannot be used for the Hunt 2021. The reason for this is that drops that happen off stream during casual play can end up there. That feeds back into what we were just talking about, where you must refarm it if it is unfortunately not able to happen, where you can not on any level farm a particular weapon, and it goes off screen. It's just unfortunate. If it flies, you just got to deal with it. And it sucks, but this is the only way to level the playing field. Speaking of leveling the playing field, you must create a new character from level 1 and utilize only that character for the duration of the competition. You will only be allowed to use this character for the duration of the event. So, for example, if I make a Zane and that is my hunt entrant, that is what I am doing for the duration of the hunt, which that is, if I was going to enter, going to be my choice. It is, after all, Zane, and I am a Zane main. There are a few other ones that we'll talk real quick about. No golden item keys or no golden key items. That one, pretty self-explanatory. No read-only or dashboard farming. You may not read-only or dashboard farm in order to obtain certain items or redo mission objectives. There is, however, co-op play, but there are regulations. Co-op regulations are as follows. Co-op play is encouraged, and all signed up with a column must be streaming.
Oh,
every single one of you.
Interesting. Okay,
yes.
so just in case people need help figuring out how to stream, you don't have to pay money for this. You just need a Twitch account, or this is an interesting question actually. Can you stream on Facebook or YouTube? This is a question for Killer 6 and Joel's Dude. I think it just has to, I'm guessing, I don't know this for sure, and we'll clarify with them, but I'm guessing you just have to make sure that it is recorded on one of the streaming websites. Mm-hmm. You can use OBS, Open Broadcaster Software, as long as you can archive your stream. Okay, so as long as there is a digital record of your live stream, of your content, yes, of what you've done with the hunt, of trying to succeed in the hunt, on a website that people can check. So Facebook is okay, Killer 6 just said in the chat. YouTube is okay, Twitch is okay. They just need to be able to verify your drops, right? So literally just record your visuals on a website so they know that it was live broadcast and not edited or anything like that, right? And they'll be able to verify. So
Right.
Facebook is cool. Unfortunately, Mixer is no longer a thing, but Twitch is totally cool. YouTube is totally cool. You can get open broadcaster software for completely for free. It's actually really easy to set up. There are tons of YouTube tutorials out there. If you have questions about any specific thing, feel free to shoot them at us on Twitter. Honestly, I love all this technical stuff. So just tweet at me. Don't DM me because I can't keep up. I'm so sorry. And if you ask a question, I would rather answer it publicly, either in the stream or on Twitter or wherever, because it will help other people that are too scared to ask, as opposed to answering in a DM and then I'll get like 100 DMs. So I'd rather just answer publicly, right? So just ask me publicly, or Mitsu or anybody else. But open broadcaster software is super easy to use, so definitely feel free to just Google it and you will find so many good tutorials. Console players can also stream. I super recommend, if you're streaming from PS5 or PS4 or Xbox 360 or Xbox One. I don't think you can stream from Xbox 360 unless you're using a capture card.
You said a 360.
I did. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I get it.
I have one in here in the apartment somewhere. That's why I thought of it. But Xbox Series X, you can stream from Xbox One and Xbox Series X, not Xbox 360, unless you have a capture card. I'm sorry about that. Also, I don't think Borderlands 3 is on Xbox 360. I literally, my brain is just like, it's sitting here because we're about to send it to someone. I'm sorry. Anyway, if you have questions on how to stream those things, feel free to tweet them at me. I will be super happy to help you out. Definitely just look up Google tutorials on how to stream from your platform, because there are ways to do it on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, and ways to do it on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So you can stream directly from those platforms, or you can use a capture card. Like, for example, AverMedia or Elgato. Those are two examples of capture cards that you can use and then stream to Twitch using open broadcaster software. Lots of tutorials out there. I know it sounds intimidating and a little bit scary if you've never heard of streaming before and are like, how do I do this? I don't know if it's worth setting all this stuff up. It's really not that hard. And if it helps you to participate in this super cool event, we are more than happy to help you, like, walk you through that. So just shoot questions at us.
Yes. So yes, co-op, getting back to that, if a drop is found through a playthrough in co-opetition mode with multiple column assigned participants, loot off, only one highlight is needed. Please make sure to put the names of your co-op partners in the highlight description/clip title. If you are using cooperation mode with loot instance being on, a drop will only count for the player who got the drop. I think that is incredibly fair. Utilizing co-op with others playing as perfectly geared characters using mods is explicitly not allowed. Everybody must start at level 1. It is an unmodded game. Everybody has an equal playing field. Don't try it. You'll get caught. You may farm with friends up to the max party size, which is the host plus 3 more players. Each player must be at the same level or 2 levels above or below the host of the game. So there is very little room for people to kind of game the system. Everybody must be on parity. Everybody must do everything essentially together. It encourages cooperation play on a level where you absolutely know that you're going to be doing it with your partner for the entire duration of the event. There's very little room for doubt here. There are many, many more rules. I wish we had time right now to get to them. This is why I very much hope that Killer 6 and or Joltstude will grace us with their presence on the show as the time to the hunt draws ever closer, March 1st, and we will be able to talk with them more thoroughly about every single one of these rules, because honestly, this could go on for another 40 minutes, and every single one of them is a very, very smart rule to have. So,
one question. So,
yes.
so somebody in chat asked, can you play if you're too shy to stream? Basically, if you are uncomfortable talking or showing your face, that is not a rule, right? You don't have to talk in the video. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to do anything except create an account on one of these platforms, use open broadcaster software or one of the other softwares. Streamlabs OBS and Stream Elements both have broadcasting versions of OBS that they have tutorials for. It's really, really not super complicated, even though it seems daunting. I promise you it's not that bad. All of these have like automatic ways to set it all up. And it's worth it. It's really, really worth it, right? So if you play co-op, if you play competition or cooperation, either way, it's worth it to stream it. It's just for them to have a way to verify that you did the thing in real time with no potential editing shenanigans. There's no way for the showrunners of this amazing event, for Killer Six and Joel's Dude, or anybody that ever runs an event like this, to verify without these like live streams, right? So, and who knows, if you stream something, even if it's just for an event and you don't talk and you don't show your face, you might still make friends through that. It's a really cool way to just share the content. It's an extension of playing the game, in my opinion. That's how I started. I had no intention of making streaming into a career. I just wanted to make more friends and share my gaming experience with people. And I was very, very lucky that people came in and started talking to me, and I made more friends, and I started playing Borderlands too because it was a viewer that recommended it. So you never know what might happen, but just I understand the intimidation of that, the feeling of like, oh, this is like a lot of technology and it's complicated and blah blah blah. But it's really, really not that bad. You can do it directly from a console. You can do it directly from your PC with just a little bit of work with OBS, which is free. Just if you have questions, my biggest recommendation is go to Google and literally just type in OBS how to stream, open broadcaster software, or if you're doing it from PlayStation 4 how to stream, PlayStation 5 how to stream. If you're doing it from Xbox Series X or S how to stream, Xbox One how to stream. Don't do 360. You can't do it that way. I'm so sorry. Don't mean to confuse people, but if you are lost or confused, shoot questions at us. I love this technical stuff a lot. So literally at Test Games anytime. I will try my best to help you. Just like tweet questions at me and I'll be happy to help you because it'll probably also help other people that are too scared to ask, right? Or come into my stream, or when I stream on the Borderlands channel or on my channel, either one. I stream on the Borderlands channel usually it's every Tuesday and Wednesday, but Tuesdays and Wednesdays are kind of iffy right now. So I also regularly stream Sundays. So any of those times.
Yeah. We will see what happens. Again, there are many, many more rules to get into, but we're just pressed for time. There is a spreadsheet. I should mention that real quick before we start wrapping up here. It is very important that you check out this spreadsheet and, of course, keep it in your personal records if you want to take part. That will, of course, list all of the appropriate gear that you will be trying to obtain. For example, just looking at this as a precursory, I'm just going to pull out some fun names that people will just be like, I remember that. The example is Echo 2. Drops by Mouthpiece. It is worth 2 points. That is one example. Or the Flood drops by Lagromar. 3 points. The Dictator, Agonizer 9000 and Terror. 3 points. Lucian's Call, Blue Fire, Ludograms. 5 points. See, the more difficult it is, the higher the point score for it. And the list will go on and on and on. That is how the game will work. Check out the spreadsheet. I'm sure the links will be in the appropriate places. And again, if you are looking into participating, you will need to stream it. It does not matter where, as long as there is an archive of that stream. I promise it won't be that bad. And you never know. You might find that you did something you really liked. We will revisit this issue very soon. We definitely will be talking about the hunt a lot more, especially in the lead up to it. But for now, it is about that time, unfortunately, because we are very pressed for time. Season Pass 2, it's out right now. The designer's cut is there. Arms Race is having an event that you should probably go check out, full of new ways for you to get all that sweet loot that you absolutely want to get from Arms Race, especially the pop coil. So make sure that you get in there and take advantage of it before this mini event series comes to an end. Director's cut, sometime in the spring. I'm keeping my fingers it's early spring and not late spring. Tess, anything else?
I think I wanted to say at the end of the hunt conversation, which is definitely not the end of the hunt conversation. We'll probably be talking about this like every stream from now on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited for it. Killer Six mentioned in chat, which is so awesome to have him in chats because we can like bounce some of this stuff onward to you guys. Thank you for being here, Killer Six. But there are a ton of really awesome side quests that I feel like a lot of people haven't done. I know this for a fact because I remember when we were filming Ultimate Vault Hunter a while ago with the Priesticles, he had mentioned some thoughts on Ava, and he had not done a specific side quest with Ava where you get to like basically hear her thoughts from her diary that was stolen by some troll, and you were trying to get it back for her. And it's such a good side quest. You get to know her. You actually like Ava is a teenager and she's annoying, but she's not the bad guy of the story by any means. And she's definitely not spoiled. She lived in literally a sewer, a place where there is much poop. Okay. Lived there for a long time, went through some actual poop. Okay. So nobody knows this. People just don't know this because they've never done this side quest. And so this is just an example, but there's lots of really, really good side quests in this game. There's some of the most kind of in-depth views and viewpoints and looks into the lore of the game, into some of the characters. They're much deeper looks into the characters, and like there's a really good one with Tannis that talks about Handsome Jack and Angel and everything that went on with them, and they're really, really cool. So this hunt includes some items from some of these side quests, and you guys, if you've never done some of them, will definitely be surprised, hopefully pleasantly. I think pleasantly. And it's worth doing just for that, but also it's just a cool community event. So we'll be talking about it lots more in the future on many future episodes.
Yes. So with that, outside of the hunt, anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining us for our new time. We love having you. We love this new time. I hope you guys love it too. Hopefully it's better for the EU, UK, everybody in that general area of the world. It's a little bit later, so people are actually like having had dinner and hopefully chilling on the couch and watching. And also it's okay for the US, North America crowd and everybody else in the world. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome.
Yes. Indeed. Where can they find you, Tess?
Oh, right here on the Borderlands channel. Like I said, I'm gonna say some Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and definitely like almost every Sunday. I'm trying to do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Sundays right now. I've had some health stuff crop up, so I've had some surgeries that are not fun, and some more coming up that are not fun. But I'm okay. I'll be okay. It just means I'm doing some bonus streams to kind of make up for streams that I can't do. So you can see me here a lot on the Borderlands channel. I also do stream on my channel at twitch.tv/Tessichka. It's just Tessa, CHKA. And on Twitter, you can always find me there and just tweet at me, Tess Games on Twitter and also Instagram.
Yes.
What about
And of
you,
course
Mitch?
you can. Oh, yes. Of course, you can find me at twitch.tv/Mitsu and twitter.com/Mitsu show, as I like to do the things that I typically like to do if you enjoy my particular brand of irreverent nonsense. But that's about it. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Tess?
Thank you guys so much for being here. Like Mitsu said, if you are listening, I'm going to put the podcast description links into the podcast description, English. The links for the hunt, the pastebin that explains all of the rules and the list of items that you need to get. Basically, everything you need to do the hunt will be in the podcast description section. I'm also going to tweet it out just so you guys see it from my Twitter. And I know that it's been tweeted out by Killer Six and Jolt's Dude. That really, really cool overlay. Again, check out, oh God, Pilot Plays Games. Make sure you check out their Twitter and check out that really cool overlay. If you would like to use a camera, you can do so. But like I said, you don't, it's easier. It's probably a little bit easier. Like if you haven't chosen a platform, it's probably a little bit easier for Killer Six and Jolt's Dude if you just use Twitch. But if you already stream on Facebook, if you already stream on YouTube, it's fine too. They just need to be able to verify that you did the thing and it's not like an edited video, right? So just stream it. Don't have to use camera. Don't have to use mic. Just have to play and make sure that it's being recorded and saved to videos on demand on one of the platforms. And then send it to them, and then you'll be entered. I'm so excited for this. Oh my God. I'm so looking forward to to when this actually happens. And I'm looking forward to Mitsu's commentary. I'm going to try to participate, even though it'll probably be derpy, but it'll be a good time. And I'm sure we'll talk about it on the Bordercast many more times leading up to the event. And then afterwards, we'll definitely be talking about whoever wins. We'll be talking about everything that went on. I'm sure there'll be some cool community stuff. And remember, you can do this on a co-op. You can do this solo, whatever you're more comfortable with. Borderlands has always been very accommodating of both group play and solo play. And that's a wonderful thing. So just do what you love, do what you enjoy, and play more of the awesome game. And just as a reminder, we are available on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, YouTube Music, and Stitcher. And now on Twitch at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific every Thursday. As soon as we end, or about 20 minutes after we end, at 4 p.m. Eastern later today. So stay tuned. We're really not going anywhere. There's going to be a really cool show called Ultimate Vault Hunters that you can check out with Liz, aka 55, and TBJ Quag. So you could also use cat cam instead of face cam. Just saying, if you have cats.
That is in fact always an option for streamers, because who doesn't like cats? Yes. Make sure you're staying tuned right here on the official Borderlands channels, wherever you're watching, if you're listening live, because we will put up Ultimate Vault Hunters, featuring, of course, the wonderful hostess 55 and TBJ Quag, where Quag has a very wonderful build to share with all of you on his inaugural visit to the Ultimate Vault Hunters. With all that being said, oh boy, on behalf of Tess, myself, and the entire content creation team, thank you so much for listening as you do every single week. Now go forth and make some mayhem.